Hello and welcome to another painting tutorial. Today we're gonna paint some battle damage on our tanks, miniatures or whatever. So let's get started straight away. So for the example I brought my tank to show you a little bit the final result we're aiming for. Let's see if you can focus. Maybe a little bit closer. Up. Always tricky to get the camera focused. Let me see if I can. There we go. So we want to emulate this effect you can see over here, these little chippings, over there. That's what we're going to paint today. So for this example I took a piece of tank from my bit box that I'm going to use for the example to paint the battle damage on. So the first thing I'm going to do is on my army I've painted these white markings on all my vehicles and models. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make them a little bit chipped and battle damaged. That's the most easy one to do because I'm just going to use the main color of the armor plates, which is this dark red. I used corn red for this, just to make little scratches on the white stripe that's been painted on there. So we're just going to take some corn red. There we go. Take some paint and just very easily we're just gonna paint some little stripes and scratches randomly over the hull of your tank. Don't think too much about it, just randomly in different directions. I'm just gonna paint little dots, little stripes to emulate the scratching of the paint job. You can of course think a little bit about where you want the battle damage to be. Maybe certain areas of your tank have been hit harder by battle damage than other areas of your tank. It's completely what you want. So the next step is the chips on the red. Give me 1 second to grab a pot of paint because I forgot to take out the black. I'll be right back. Let me see where's here we go. So for the bigger chips on the red, we're gonna take some black paint. In this case I'm just gonna use Abaddon black and paint the battle damage on the tank. The most important thing about painting this battle damage is make sure you make random shapes. So just some blobs and zips. I'm not gonna do everything, just some examples I'm gonna show you here to see how they turn out. Again, you can think a little bit about where you want to battle damage pieces because certain areas of your tank are probably used more or hit more. So for example, in a tank, let's say these are the tracks, the front of your tank will probably have more battle damage than the rear side of your tank because if they're driving, all the impact of the debris will be from the front. So I've painted them black. Now I'm gonna fill in those areas with a nice dark brown. In this case I've taken Cetacean Flash, but you can take Rhinox hide, Dryad bark, whatever you like. Just a nice dark brown paint. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paint a little bit of brown inside all the scratches. Make sure there's a little black line around all the scratches, and I only do this on the slightly bigger ones because these really tiny stripes and dots over there, they're just too tiny, so it's not worth to paint some brown in there. So now to give the battle damage slightly more depth, now already because of the brown it has some more look, like they are lying a little bit lower than the black areas. I'm going to do a little highlights, and for the highlights I'm going to use the same colors I've used on my tank. So in this case my tank is highlighted with Wasdaka red and Cadian flesh tone. So I'm going to use these colors for the highlights of the battle damage as well. Of course, if you paint your tank in any different colors, you use those colors you use for your highlights. So there we go. The first color highlights, I'm just gonna try to paint all around the chipping. So I don't, it's both the top side and the bottom side of the chipping. I'm just gonna paint a little bit of the highlighted color around them. So there we go. Get some more red on there. Yep. So this one as well. And that's it. So this is the first highlight on the chipping. So we slowly already get some depth to it because of the light color around the edge of the chipping. It pops up a little bit, and the black and the brown looks like it's even more deeper inside. So it gives you a little bit depth. It's like there's actually sculpted battle damage on there. Now the final highlight, I'm going to take my lightest color, highlight color, in this case Cadian flesh tone, and we give it a little highlight. Now we have to think carefully about this highlight. The other one we did all around the chipping. This one you have to think a little bit more about the light fall. Let's say the light's coming from the top, so it would shine at the bottom part of each chip. So I'm only going to highlight the bottom parts of my chips. Battle damage. There we go. Just to give it this nice depth. There we go. This one as well. And these lines, they may be a little bit wobbly. That usually works a little bit better than very straight lines. So there we go. Let's see if we can get a little bit of focus here. Yes. So there you go. These are the chipping effect. Very quick, but I think really effective. If you want, you could use a little bit metal inside of the chipping as well. If you want to show the material underneath and you think it's going to be a metallic color, you could use some metallic. So yeah, that's it. And there are different ways, of course, to chipping. We've already did the Clone Trooper tutorial, and we did the B1 Battle Droids tutorial. They both use the chipping tutorial as well. It's even easier than this one because we use the sponge technique. But this one takes a little bit more work, but I think the final result is even better. I'm going to show you a few examples on the miniature, so how it will look on a miniature. So in this case, I already showed you the tank. In this case, for example, we have the bark. There we go. And have on a trooper model. Let's see if I can get the focus there. Just very subtly, some chips on the model to give him a little bit battle-worn look. For the model, I usually do most of the battle damage around the feet, because that will probably get damaged the most, and on the front of the model, some chipping. Of Frank's model as well, he's painted the AAT tank. He used roughly the same technique as I used, but he used, for example, the metallic inside of his battle damage, and he combined both techniques. So there's a stippling effect on the edges here and the hand painted chipping on the sides of the tank. Alright, so that was I think a quick and effective painting tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you liked it, give us a little like our Facebook, like our YouTube. And if you have any questions, let us know. If you want to see any type of tutorials in the near future, you can always send us a message and we can see what we can do for you. So thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye bye.